Hello everyone, welcome to First Web Designer Show. I'm James Richman, as always, and this, well, I always say every episode is very special, but this particular episode is something I've been looking forward to, because I am having a special guest today. You know, I'm sure you have heard of Brian Hoff and his Brian Hoff design agency. And basically today we're not going to talk about the technical side of it. That's why I have invited Brian. We're going to talk about how to provide value to your clients as a web professional, and how to run your web services, your web experience as business, And just to quickly mention, he's worked with a lot of very well recognized clients, but those that really stood out for me were, of course, Outbrain, that's a site that everyone knows about, as well as, funny enough, PSD to HTML, very technical guys, but Brian helped to humanize them. And of course, Derek Halpern's social triggers, which Brian himself says that it was a tough one, but he managed to get it done. And so, hello Brian, and welcome on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a special episode because our audience always asks about, the client side of the business side of the web, and I couldn't think of anyone better than you, because you've proven what you can do. So I believe and I hope that this is something you are excited to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I feel like with design. I feel like you can more or less read about it, immerse yourself in it, and you can grow. I feel like business has been one of those things where I started off, I knew very little, if not, I probably didn't know anything about it, quite honestly. And just over time, I've just kind of stumbled along, and I've changed up business practice significantly over the years. And I feel like I'm always fine-tuning it, but it's something that I've actually put more emphasis on than growing my own skill set, I feel like, lately. And I feel like it's actually probably more important, to be better in business than be better in design in a way. It's building trust amongst your clients and existing clients. Getting repeat work. Putting yourself out there to get referrals and to generate more businesses. If you can't get business, you can be the best designer in the world, but if you can't get business, you're you're only going to get so far, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, good point you mentioned, that referrals, the business skills, all of that leads to more clients and more work in the industry. Yep. So maybe if you don't mind sharing what exactly is, in your words, that your company does, and what kind of clients you take on, and what do you do to them?
As far as the client base, I wouldn't say I work with any particular industry. I've worked with anybody from real estate down to running their social marketing blog. Outbrain is more on the advertising side of things. But one thing that is consistent is they're mostly digital clients. So they're doing something on the web. They're not typically selling like a physical product. Although if there is a physical product, there's usually some overlap in the in the technology space. So there is a consistent theme about that. Mostly the work though ranges. To be honest with you, it's a lot of interaction design. I'd say that's about 65% of it. Then there's the marketing side of things and the advertising campaigns that we work with as well. Earlier in the year, we worked with the California. We teamed up with another agency, and we worked with the California Department of Public Health to run a campaign. So we helped we did the digital strategy of that. So. It really varies from project to project, and quite honestly, I like it like that. I'm definitely a dabbler. I get bored really easily, it keeps things exciting for me. It keeps me learning new things, and I like that.
No, exactly, variety. It's interesting. It's variety is a good thing, but one of the things our audience is really scared of and really worried about is this jumping around and this constant desperation. They feel like you work with one design client, you do the design, invoice, get paid, job done. Unless you have referrals, you gotta go and look for some other clients. So how long is the lifespan with your client? Do you just build a website, or you on long-term basis provide something else?
That's really varies too. We do have long-term clients. Some of the clients we've worked on and off with for over the course of 5 years. Some are just kind of like one and done, and I don't take that as like sometimes clients' services and products are evolving, and that's fine. To keep coming back, and sometimes it's just they're looking to get a few features out the door, and nothing personal, and I try to reach back around here and there to see how things are going, just to keep the relationship at hand a bit, and it's I do like the the ongoing clients. It's just it's easier to build a business around ongoing work. It's just something that you could look forward to every year, or typically when they come back, it's usually like every other year. It's every second year. I usually kind of find clients looping around again. So it's easier to kind of count those in the bucket when it comes to making ends meet every year.
No, exactly, and good thing you touched the ends meet, because one thing you mentioned is that you have actually built your business skills rather than your design skills, which in a lot of cases is more important. Yet at the same time, you got to be knowledgeable and qualified. So do you have team you delegate your tasks to, or are you a one-man band?
I'm more or less a one-man band as far as like the design side of things, and I work with Carlos Gavina. He handles all front-end, back-end markup and HTML, CSS, jQuery, CMS. He's a pretty go-to guy for all ends, and he's pretty solid in design as well. So he's a good fresh set of eyes when I have a design-related question, beyond the markup of things. I actually like staying small personally. I think it's one of the hardest things I struggle with, and I think maybe because I was a bad employee when I worked for other people. I just something about when you run your own business, your heart is in it. And I absolutely love what I do. I don't overwork by any means. Like I get up early. My kids get up early, so I usually start my day around 7:30ish, but I'm done promptly at 4 o'clock. I look forward to like closing down my the computer and playing with the kids outside, or just doing things unrelated to design. It's I feel like as much as I love it, I love being away from it too. But I feel like because of that, I've grown to be a better designer. I never believe that like your best work comes from just kind of like working through it. I find that personally for me, I find that stepping away allows me to sometimes I'll just say, what, this isn't going well today. I'll just leave. I'll just be like, what, I'm just taking the half day off here. I can't figure out what I'm trying to figure out, and then I'll. Usually the next day or a day or two later, I'll come back to it, and I have the better solution to the problem at hand. So I find that staying small allows me to keep the passion at the core of the company, and it's hard to Carlos. I rave about Carlos. Carlos has been I've been working. I guess this is the second year, but he's one of the rare guys I come across that just loves what he does too. I can see it in his work. I can see it when I speak to him, and that's a rarity to find like those type of people. It's not just about the paycheck, but it's about this this like scratch and need to like just do something amazing each time and bring something new to the project, and not so worry about like, well, this isn't really in scope. Like I try to keep things as much as I can in scope to the timeline and to budget, but I try to also bring something unique and something that might go above and beyond the scope that benefits me later in the long run.
Well, actually, I like the two things that you really mentioned. One is stepping away, which I can totally resonate with. I heard many people say that, whether it's just hit the gym, go outside for a walk, it's like getting outside that box of thoughts and all that. And another thing was staying small, Because that's another fear, as you perhaps know, the web designers have, is like, these big clients, why would they pick me? I'm small, why wouldn't they pick the big agencies? And you might be surprised enough, when we did the survey, we have quite a lot of CMOs listening to us, who represent the company and are looking for websites. So for them, it might be interesting to tell a little bit about, if you don't mind, share the story with Derek Halpern and Social Triggers. He's a big fish, like you admitted as well. Yeah. Yet you admit you're small. So how did he decide to work with you, and how did it go?
It's funny because I actually I definitely remember when he first reached out to me. I didn't read his blog personally, not for any reason. I just never really came across his blog, but I did remember his face coming across on YouTube videos, and actually my Carlos as well. He actually was like, hey, hey, that's a YouTube guy. And I was like, I come across, but what I loved about Derek, and this probably worked to my advantage, is that I didn't know of him, and our initial talks, he was really enthusiastic, and that's like I love that positive energy. You just want to work with somebody like that, and he showed me he tried working with other small and large agencies in the past. He showed me he didn't get into specifics on who, but he showed me some of the work that he was presenting, and he said, this just isn't me. He's like, I paid in full. He's like, I didn't like what I got. He's like, it just wasn't me. He's like, I need something that represents me. He's like, I don't know what that is. He's like, but I know these aren't, aren't the solution. So I felt like, after just talking to him, he's, personally, he's just like he is on his site. He's a little crude. He's a little, fast talking. But he's passionate. He loves what he does. He's a smart guy. I knew kind of where the direction of the site needed to go. It needed to be a little bit more bold, than his competitors. It needed to just showcase his personality. And I feel like what I actually really immersed myself in his content, upon getting that project. But I ended up finding myself really enjoying it because it just he's entertainment. I mean, I think that's the best way to describe him. Like what he says offers a lot of value, but what I really like too is he's a ton of entertainment. I mean, it's like getting the best of both worlds, and it was fun to kind of take that his brand that he really didn't know what he had and apply like a style to his face in a way. I said, we need some great photography on here. I really want the site direction to be about, you are the brand, so he partnered with a photography he knew in New York, Eric Pearson, I believe, that did an awesome job on just, taking the vision on, and applying that to the photography, and the rest kind of just came naturally. We just kind of played off the, large, loud typography, just kind of, subtle development touches here and there, and it just kind of came along great.
No, that's it. When I saw it for the first time, I was like, "That's Derek. That's Derek."
Yeah.
And also, you are one of the lucky ones, because when you have such strong and loud character, you don't get on with everyone, and you have haters as well. So lucky both sides. You didn't hate him; he didn't hate you.
I'm pretty. Yeah. I think actually that's. He was talking to, I think at the time, if I remember correctly, like 3 or 4 other people at the same time. And I'm always, whenever I hear that, I'm always curious if I do end up getting the job. And even if sometimes I can, if I don't, I try to ask anyways. But I say why, why, what was that final decision that led us to my company? And he's like honestly, you didn't give me any kind of bullshit. I mean, he was just like, you just spoke to me like a real person. And I actually hate business jargon and all that stuff. I just a lot of times I try not to be crude, but I could be honest. And sometimes the honesty comes off a little bit just a little disruptive, and sometimes. But I feel like clients in the end appreciate that. It's just you know what, he's not trying to sell me on a bunch of junk. He's not trying to give me the hard sell. Like if something sucks, it sucks. It's something And I tell that, even of my own work I present, clients like to see, like, let me see after a day, let me see what you have. I'm like, it sucks. I don't want to show you as much as you don't want to see what I have right now. I mean, what good is going to come of that, a lot of times, just being brutally honest with clients, I find, it works to advantage, but I feel like that comes hard for a lot of people, just being able to kind of say what you feel. without
that's
hurting
it, yeah,
feelings and without, and by also, staying true to like, how you feel about that, current situation.
But that also reminds me of, I had one episode with a recent episode with Paul Jarvis, and he talked about how he educates his clients.
Yes.
In a lot of cases, it's not clients' fault. They might have just worked with some crazy, unprofessional or too professional web designers, and expectations are different.
Yeah.
I'd also like to hear a little bit of your opinion on this. Let's not go too deep into this, otherwise we're not going to finish today. I don't know if you have heard of this crazy thing going on now that, web design is dead. It was published on Mashable, then Vitaly from Smashing Magazine replied to it.
Yeah,
For you as an artist, just a quick short reply, because again, to those people who are looking for a website and listening to us now, why would they opt out for someone like you, Craftswork, instead of WordPress template applying, quick solution? $50.
I mean, yeah, it's funny. Is I actually have seen that article circulate a ton. I've kind of read short comments here and there. I actually have not read the article personally. I just feel like it's one of those like I feel like it was a little bit of a link bait kind of title, which is fine. I get it. But at the same time, I feel like it's kind of silly to say web design is dead. There's it's everybody has if everybody starts looking the same, where's the value in that? There's I find that there's like, it's kind of like the case of like the dying middle class, as they say, is that there's I feel like there's people like spending, like clothing companies in particular, like right now I've been seeing a lot of like low end, like Target is doing extremely well. Target's clothing sales are doing extremely well. But you go there and you get a $3 T-shirt. But then you have this other extremely reverse end of the spectrum, that these clothing companies like Everlane, they're Bobonos, they or Bonobos, or I always say it wrong. I think I actually like that company a lot, but they're doing the opposite end of the spectrum, where they're selling $20, $30 pocket tees. Buck Mason, pocket, and I feel like there's like that, like middle class, that these people put in really great, every detail on the, a T-shirt is just well crafted, and it just, when you put it on, you feel great. When you wear it, you get a comment like how the detail on the stitching, and there's something to be said about that you throw on a a $3 T-shirt. I mean, some people are like, well, it's a T-shirt, but other people, I feel like there is that value of having that fine care tailored to you as a person, and you can apply the same thought of branding to well, you just pick from a template, or you could just how else do you stand out as far as from your web presence is concerned, and you have somebody, a professional, tailored to your needs. Everybody's needs are different. I mean, that typography is, you can apply a template to typography. Well, this is a site that has a lot of reading. It's a news site, and you go, well, these typefaces work well for long periods of reading. But you can't go across the board and say that for the entire website. And I feel like that's where templates. There's always that fine line where a template just ends and just it doesn't serve your site justice.
I also like the, how you said when you put on that nice T-shirt with nice stitching, you feel good, you want to feel good, you quite happily receive those comments, and I guess that's one of the messages for the companies who are looking for a website. If you want to feel good about your online presence and you want to receive good comments from customers and business partners, well, the choice is yours, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it's just like I love walking into like a grocery store and just seeing lovely packaging design, and there's something that to be honest with you, I love food. I love cooking. I'd probably do something cooking related. But a lot of times when you buy those packages, I'm kind of simply basing it off of the product package, and I have really little knowledge of what's the actual ingredients that make it up. They could be the same from one brand to another, but usually that it leaves you feeling a certain way. Like I just bought a really, really great product.
No, that's it, and one of the message actually behind this web design is dead thing, you obviously didn't read it, but basically it was about, the truth. Web design is evolving, really. It's changing,
It is evolving, sure. Yep.
And a lot of people say that the new web new web really is the mobile, the apps, all the mobile solutions. So in your business, how much of that do you see? How much of the, I don't know, Apple, iPad, iPhone apps do you develop against websites?
Yeah, I do a lot of those. I would say it's actually probably a 50-50 split though. So, I wouldn't call one area dead or the next area flourishing. I mean, there's definitely an uprise in apps, but I feel there's a lot of times. I actually the Apple Watch. I have a partial I love it, and I just could care less about it at the same time. And I feel like the main reason I could care less about it is because a lot of people are approaching it from I feel like there's certain apps on there that do it really good justice. And from the iPhone app, like for example, Swarm. I use Swarm to check in, just quick check in. I open the app, I hit a check in button, I close the app. That's it. It just kind of clocks where I'm going. And I feel like on the iPhone, it's over interfaced. It's too much app for such a simple function. And I feel like on the watch, it's a quick interaction. Tap, boom, done. It's and Uber, same way. It's on Uber, it feels over interfaced on the phone, and I feel like the watch is a perfect example of something like that. So I do see a lot of I find like I see a lot of websites becoming apps that don't need to become apps, and I see a lot of what was I the other day? We were at the mall with the kids, and I saw we were getting the kids some pretzels at Annie's Pretzels, and it's just like a little. For those who don't know, it's like a little pretzel shop. It's pretty big on the East Coast. I don't know where else, but it's like a $6 pretzel that's just filled with butter. They're really good. Yeah, we were there, and it said like download our app. And I was like, what the heck? Why would a pretzel company? I mean, that's really pretty much all they sell is pretzels and, lemonade or something like that. And I was like, why would a pretzel company want an app? And it was like, download our app to get rewards. And I felt like, I feel like you're going to have an app just for rewards. It just feels like just overboard. Like, why do you need an entire app for like a, rewards program? To be honest, I'd rather have something on my keys or something. It just feels over interfaced, and I feel like that's kind of the problem. Maybe as the web evolves, like you said, I feel like we need to kind of look at all these devices that we have, and then we say, what is the best practical use of each problem on which device.
So, what would be your advice to other, say, web designers? Would you, because there's things going on around, specializing, just specialize in mobile or products or web. You do all of that. You design the experience, user experience, including products. Right. So how is that going for you? And do you suggest niching down?
I think there's value in having a niche market, but I don't think there's value in having necessarily a niche like service. So, for example, like I work, like I said, mostly with digital clients, so I understand the digital realm, so to speak. And I immerse myself in it and understand a lot of the current problems going on in the industry as a whole. Where I feel like if I were just to be, I just do iOS apps. I feel like eventually that's things are going to evolve, like we were just talking about, and then where do you go from there? Then you're just learning something new, and I feel like. You open up more opportunity to get more work, and like I said, I get bored, so I like to have different projects, learn on the fly, areas that I might not be able to dive into on another project. So I actually enjoy having a variety of different areas to focus on.
Okay,
just doing the same thing. I mean, I could work if I got to give credit to those that work on one product like 24/7. That's just not me. I understand that like in order to have a great product, you do need somebody, a team working on that 24/7 to really get it to its best possible. It evolves a lot more. But I feel like as a designer personally, I feel like I don't evolve from that type of atmosphere, just working on one thing at a time and just kind of, working for months on just a nav bar. I do see the value of that. I just, I feel like there's also beating the dead horse, where, you can, it's like trying to dig up skeletons out of, a problem. There's always going to be something under, each layer of dirt that you can always nitpick and change, but it's just not me. I just,
No, I like that you said that you don't feel like you as a designer don't evolve. And so my next question really I wanted to ask, where do you see what's going to happen next to you and the agency? What new things you're experimenting with, new things you're trying?
Yeah, it's I've wrestled. It's been 9 years, I guess, with my business. I've wrestled with growing. I've probably spoken on a number of podcasts, probably if you dig it up over the years, about growing. And I think when it comes down to the end of the day, I like staying small. I really do. It's I've done it well. I've been doing it well. Things business past 2 years has been weird, but it's still always profitable. It's and I feel like as long as things stay profitable, you're doing something right. I do see growth every year. So things are going well. I like staying small, and sure, I probably could, triple income and triple profits. If I were to hire more people. I do have that ability to hire more, but it's a choice that I make to stay small, and I like having small teams, and I stay connected to a good amount of people that are that are passionate as I am, that do great work, that are working on their own. So if I do need to tap into other resources, I do have that option to if a project specifically needs content strategy, I do have a handful of people that I can go to for that would produce great work. So it's
sorry.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't want to be a manager by any means. Whether it's it's my company, and I've had others say, like, you could hire a project manager and you can hire somebody overseeing operations, but there is still that part, that bit of me that it's my company, and I still need, even if it's 10% of the time, I still need to immerse myself in that kind of managing environment, and it's just, I like designing.
This is one thing actually that I remember Steve Jobs once said. He said, we don't promote, as in position people just for the sake of it. We don't mind to give you more salary as the years go on because you become more senior designer. Just because you've designed for 10 years doesn't mean you suddenly become a good, talented manager. So fair play and respect to you. So in one answer, you said that you see growth every year. So can a company kind of grow and scale to some measures even without having a team?
That's why I said, like, the past few years have been odd, because I feel like while there has been growth, the growth has been like slower. Like 4 years ago, it was just I feel like the growth was like 300%, and now it's like a few thousand here or there. So it's more or less at like this plateau at the moment. It's knock on wood. It's I'm very fortunate, and it's a good plateau. I feel like the plateau does have a lot to do with where, I'm only one guy and there's only so many hours in the day. And like I said, sure, I could work long hours and work till 9 o'clock at night and but that's not me. I don't want to do that. And it's, I feel like I never feel like I burn out with my work. And that's important to me. I love, just not doing work as much as I love doing work.
No, exactly.
I'm excited when I hop on the computer when I do, you know what I mean?
And especially for someone like you as a designer, last thing you want is, lack of inspiration or burnout and hit the ground.
Yep. Okay, burnout's bad for designers.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You that's your creativity goes into that. And you owe us still something at the end of the show, which is a little shameless. Well, it's not really shameless, but plug about where people can find you and find out more about you.
You can find me, pretty much all my social networks are under the handle of Behoff, Behoff. That's pretty much universal across the board. Or my website, brianhoffdesign.com. Those are kind of the two outlets. I blog from time to time. Actually, I've been doing a lot better this year on writing articles than I have in the past before with the Design Cubicle. So you can check out the blog. At least once a month I'll have something I've been trying for. And then I'm always on Twitter, just kind of sharing resources, chatting it up, and having fun.
Right, then one personal question from myself. See, someone like Darren Rose from ProBlogger, he's all about writing, and it took him a lot of convincing from his friends to start podcasting. You are a designer. Can we expect a podcast from you anytime soon? It's booming,
Yeah, it's I've actually have a lot of friends that Adam Clark used to do a lot of development for me, and he got really into the podcasting thing, and it seems like a lot of work. It's and I feel like that's why I've actually probably have written less than I used to when I first started off. It's just being busy, so it's like I feel like with the podcasting, I probably have to take on that client, one or less client, each month just to kind of pull something out there. And yeah, I love hopping on shows like this. This is you know little effort on my end, and I always appreciate you guys having me on the show. So it works out to my advantage.
Exactly, and I have to say a massive thanks for coming here, and I wish you even more growth to your design
Thank
agency.
you. Yeah, I appreciate being here. So thanks again for having me.
Thank you.